like a Hellcat.
Hello, welcome to Joby's Story World. And in Joby's Story World, I'm starting a new segment too, reading out famous stories in front of you in English. In English language, I will read out famous stories. And I would love to read O. Henry stories because I'm a fan of O. Henry. Why I like O. Henry? It is because his stories are unexpected endings. His stories has got an unexpected endings. Today, I'm going to read in front of you a story by O. Henry. The name of the story is Tommy's Burglar. Let me read the story in English. Be patient, don't go away. At 10 o'clock, at 10 o'clock p.m., Felicia, the maid, left by the basement door with the policeman to get a raspberry phosphate around the corner. She detested the policeman and objected earnestly to the arrangement. She pointed out, not unreasonably, that she might have been allowed to fall asleep over one of the St. George Rathbone's novels on the third floor. But she was overruled. Raspberries and cops were not created for nothing. The burglar got into the house without much difficulty because we must have action and not too much description in a 2000-word story. In the dining room, he opened the slide of his dark lantern. With a brazen center bit, he began to bore into the lock of the silver closet. Suddenly, a click was heard. Suddenly, a click was heard. The room was flooded with electric light. The dark velvet portiers parted. The dark velvet portiers parted to admit a fair-haired boy of 8 in pink pajamas, bearing a bottle of olive oil in his hand. Are you a burglar? Are you a burglar? Are you a burglar? He asked in a sweet, childish voice. Listen to that, exclaimed the man in a hoarse voice. Am I a burglar? What? Do you suppose I have a 3 days' growth of bristly beard on my face for, and a cap with flaps? Give me the oil, cook, and let me grease the bit, so I won't wake up your mamma, who is lying down with the headache, and left you in charge of Felicia, who has been faithless to her trust. Oh dear, said Tommy with a sigh. I thought you would be more up to date. This oil is for the salad when I bring lunch from the pantry for you. And Mama and Papa have gone to the Metropolitan Opera House to hear De Resque. But that isn't my fault. It only shows how long the story has been knocking around among the editors. If the author had been wise, he would have changed it to Crusoe. He would have changed it to Caruso in the proofs. Be quiet, hissed the burglar under his breath. If you raise an alarm, I will wring your neck like a rabbit's. Like a chicken's? Corrected Tommy. You had that wrong. You don't wring rabbit's necks. Aren't you afraid of me? Asked the burglar. You know I'm not, answered Tommy. Don't you suppose I know fact from fiction? If this wasn't story, I would yet like an Indian when I saw you, and you would probably tumble downstairs and get pinched on the sidewalk. I see, said the bugler, that you are on the that you are on to your job. Go on with the performance. Tommy seated himself in an armchair and drew his toes up under him. Why do you go around robbing strangers? Mr. Bugler, have you no friends? I see what you are driving at, said the bugler, with a dark frown. It is the same old story. Your innocence and childish insouciance is going to lead me back into an honest life. Every time I crack crib where there's a kid around, it happens. Would you mind gazing with wolfish eyes at the plate of cold beef that the butler has left on the dining table? Said Tommy. I'm afraid it's growing late. The butler accommodated. Poor man, said Tommy, you must be hungry. If you will please stand in a listless attitude, I will get you something to eat. The boy brought a roast chicken, a jar of marmalade, and a bottle of wine from the pantry. The bugler seized a knife and fork suddenly. It's only been an hour, he grumbled, since I had a lobster and a pint of musty ale up on Broadway. I wish these story writers would let a fellow have a pepsin tablet anyhow between feeds. My papa writes books, remarked Tommy. The butler jumped to his feet quickly. You said he had gone to the opera? He hissed hoarsely and with immediate suspicion. I ought to have explained, said Tommy. He didn't buy the tickets. The bugler sat again and toyed with the wishbone. Why do you buggle houses? Asked the boy, wondering. Because, replied the bugler, with a sudden flow of tears, God bless my little brown haired boy Bessie at home. Ah, said Tommy, wrinkling his nose, you got that answer in the wrong place. You want to tell your hard luck story before you pull out the child's top. Oh, yes, said the bugler, I forgot. Well, once I lived in Milwaukee. And take the silver, said Tommy, rising from his chair. Hold on, said the bugler, but I moved away. I could find no other employment. For a while, I managed to support my wife and child by passing Confederate money. But alas, I was forced to give that up because it did not belong to the Union. I became desperate and a burglar. Have you ever fallen into the hands of the police? Asked Tommy. I said burglar, not beggar, answered the cracksman. After you finish your lunch, said Tommy, and experience the usual change of heart, how shall we wind up the story? How shall we wind up the story? Suppose, said the bugler thoughtfully, that Tawny Pastor turns out earlier than usual tonight and your father gets in from Parsifal at 10:30. I am thoroughly repentant because you have made me think of my own little boy Bessie and said Tommy, haven't you caught the draw? Not on your colored crayon drawings by B. Corey Culbert, said the bugler. It's always the Bessie that I have at home, atlasly prattling to the pale cheeked bugler's bride. As I was saying, your father opens the front door just as I am departing with admonitions and sandwiches that you have wrapped up for me. Upon recognizing me as an old Harvard classmate, he starts back in. Not in surprise, interrupted Tommy. With wide open eyes, he starts back in the doorway, continued the burglar, and then he rose to his feet and began to shout. Rah, 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 rah. Well, said Tommy wonderingly, that's the first time I ever knew a burglar to give a college yell when he was burglarizing a house, even in the story. That's one of you. That's one on you, said the burglar with a laugh. I was practicing that dramatization. If this is put on the stage, the college touches about the only thing that will make it go. Tommy looked his admiration. You are all right, he said. And there is another mistake you have made, said the burglar. You should have gone some time ago and brought me the $9 gold piece of your mother gave you on your birthday to take to Bessie. But she didn't give it to me to take to Bessie, said Tommy, pouting. Come, come, said the burglar sternly. It's not nice of you to take advantage because the story contains an ambiguous sentence. You know what I mean? I get out these fractional jobs. Anyhow, I lose all that loot and I have to reborn every time, and all the swag I'm swallowed and all the swag I'm allowed is the blamed little folderols and luck pieces that you kids I hand over. Why in one story, and all I got was a kiss from a little girl who came in on me while I was opening a safe, and it tasted on molasses candy too. I have a good notion to tie this table cover over your head and keep on into the silver closet. Oh, no, you haven't, said Tommy, wrapping his arms around his knees. Because if you did, no editor would buy the story. You know you have got to preserve the unities. So have you, said the burglar, rather glumly, instead of sitting here talking impudence and taking the bread out of a poor man's mouth. What you would like to be doing is hiding under the bed, then searching and screeching at the top of your voice. You're right, old man, said Tommy heartily. I wonder what they make us do it for. I think the SPCC caught to interfere. I am sure it's neither agreeable nor usual for a kid of my age to put in when a full grown burglar is at work and offer him a red sled and a pair of skates not to awaken his sick mother. And look how they make the burglars act. You would think editors would know, but what's the use? The burglar wiped his hands on the tablecloth and arose with a yawn. Well, let's get through it with it. Let's get through with it, she said. God bless you, my little boy. You have saved a man from committing a crime this night. Bessie shall pray for you as soon as I get home and give her her orders. I shall never burglarize another house, at least not until the June magazines are out. You haven't got all the kicks coming to you, said sighed Tommy, crawling out his chair, thinking of the sleep I am losing. But it's tough on both of us. Old man, I wish you could get out of the story and reality rob somebody. Maybe you will have the chance if they dramatize. Never, said the burglar gloomily. I'm sorry, said Tommy sympathetically, but I can't help myself any more than you can. It's one of the canons of household fiction that no burglar shall be successful. The burglar must be foiled by a kid like me, or by a young lady heroine, or at the last moment his old pal, Brad Mike, who recognizes the house as one which he used to be the coachman. You have to get the worst end of it in any kind of a story. Well, I suppose I must be clearing out now, said the bugler, taking up his lantern. You have to take the rest of this chicken and the bottle of wine with you for Bessie and her mother, said Tommy calmly. You have to take the rest of the chicken and the bottle of wine with you for Bessie and her mother, said Tommy calmly. But confound it, exclaimed the bugler in an annoyed tone. They don't want it. I have got 5 cases of Chateau de Bechevelle at home. That was bottled in 1853. The claret of yours is corked, and you couldn't get either of them to look at a chicken unless it was stewed in a champagne. You know, after I get out of the story, I don't have so many limitations. I make a turn now and then. Yes, but you must take them, said Tommy, loading his arms with the bundles. Bless you, young master, recited the bugler, obedient. Second story soul will never forget you. And now hurry and let me out, kid. Our 2,000 words must be nearly up. Tommy led the way through the hall toward the front door. Suddenly, Bugler stopped and called to him softly. Ain't there a cop out there in front somewhere sparking his girl? Yes, said Tommy. But what? I'm afraid he will catch me, said the bugler. You must not forget that this is fiction. Great head, said Tommy, turning. Come out. Come out by the back door. Thanks for hearing. Thank you.